People do many different things to raise money for charity. These runners are doing the New York Marathon. Every year, the race raises about $40 million. And these people are doing a sponsored skydive. There are also ways to raise money without taking exercise or jumping out of an aeroplane. These people are bringing cakes to a charity bake sale. The popularity of bake sales in the UK has increased dramatically over the last decade. Thanks in part, at least, to the popularity of the Great British Bake Off. This programme, which began in 2010, has encouraged people of all abilities to bake, especially when it's for charity. Today's sale at Oxford University Press will raise money for two charities: Macmillan Cancer Support and Adelante Africa, a charity that supports education and other projects in a rural area of Uganda. But this bake sale is different.
She put some effort in.
It's also a competition and will be judged by Daisy Watt and Emma Collin, who are chefs and professional bakers. And from the moment the posters appeared, people have tried to persuade their colleagues to join in.
Oh, I don't know, I'm not a very good baker.
Go on, it's for charity.
Maybe.
Emma is going to make Viennese whirls, biscuits with buttercream and jam.
I bake quite often, probably once or twice a month. It's one of my main hobbies that I enjoy. Kind of a stress reliever for me, just being in the kitchen by myself with some music on, just enjoying baking. And it's just an added bonus to do it for charity as well, combining one of my hobbies with raising some money for some really great causes. It's not the first time I've taken part in a bake sale. I've done several different kinds of bake sales for work and other things.
James is going to make a sponge cake with blueberries.
I bake not that often, maybe about, I don't know, once a month or something I might bake. When I do, it's usually baking with my kids, I suppose. So, you know, we make something really easy like cookies or something like that. The cake that I baked today, I have baked that one in the past before, and so I'm quite confident that it's going to be okay at least, but you know, I couldn't say that it's actually a speciality. I don't bake often enough to have a speciality, to be honest. I mean, I'm baking now because it's for a charity, right? So I wouldn't say I have a speciality.
The finalists in this competition bake sale are a baklava cake, a Neapolitan cake, Emma's Viennese whirls, a loaf cake, and a chocolate cake. Although this isn't the Great British Bake Off, Daisy is looking for certain criteria in the cakes.
There are a few things I was looking for. Refinement. It sounds harsh, but there were good cakes out there, so it was really important to choose the cakes that looked like someone had put real effort into the decoration. And you can see the ones that put the effort in. Cuts beautifully. Oh, and it's
And it's now time to judge the 5 finalists.
That's fantastic. Very clever. And you've even done the different coloured icing in between. A labour of love. Really good sponge. The chocolate sponge is delicious. It's not over chocolatey, it's just...
And then to choose the winner.
So I've conferred enough because it is really close, but there is one winner who has obviously put so much effort, not just in the decoration, but also her sponge is technically brilliant. So are you going to come up here? It is fun.
And now the only thing left to do is to eat the cake and give money to the 2 charities.
Obviously really happy that my cake was chosen, and it's really nice to bake for such a great cause as well.
They were really complimentary about my bake, which was great. But a biscuit, I don't think is going to stand up to those beautifully iced cakes that we had. So the standard was really high.
I mean, I'm not the best baker in the world, I know that. But, you know, as I say, it came out really well and it raised loads of money for the charities. So no, I'm really pleased I did it, yeah.
The cake sale raised over £270 for Macmillan Cancer Support and Adelante Africa.
Sam Alexander is an actor. He lives in London. Today, he's going to visit a personal stylist, Ellen May, at the Westfield Shopping Centre in Shepherd's Bush.
I thought my wardrobe was getting quite boring, and I dress up a lot for my job as an actor. Sometimes I don't give any thought to my own wardrobe, so I was keen to sort of refresh things a bit and get a new opinion. Hi.
Hello,
Ellen.
Sam. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Welcome to the Fashion
Thank you very
Lounge.
much.
I think having your unique personal style is something that's incredibly important to each and every individual. And everyone should ideally try and find their own personal style as well.
Before this session, Sam has filled in a questionnaire with everything from his sizes to his dress sense.
Okay, tell me how today came about. With every session, we sit down at the beginning and we have a chat about their questionnaire. So we go into a bit more depth.
I told you, I'm always dressing up.
And then we would ask them more questions about their lifestyle as well. When you're actually working, how many days a week are you actually at work?
Well, the thing about being an actor is that you don't have any routine. So sometimes I'm in a play, in which case I work 6 days a week, and I have a routine, but then that stops suddenly, and then I might be between jobs, in which case I'm at home a lot, or I might be doing filming, which means fewer days but very long hours.
Now, the consultation usually lasts, 15 to 20 minutes, but the consultation actually continues throughout the session as well. So those little questions about their lifestyle, and I find out things about what they like and what they dislike, and about the shops that they've gone to in the past, and about their relationship with clothes.
After Sam and Ellen have visited a few shops, they return to the Fashion Lounge, and Ellen divides the clothes into 4 outfits.
Ready, Sam? Wow,
Here we are.
okay. This
Number
looks
one.
fantastic.
Yeah,
How
I really
do
like
you
it.
feel?
I really like it. It is quite bold, the shirt, but yeah,
How do the jeans fit?
great. Jeans that stretch, they feel very comfy.
What I wanted to show you now as well is actually how useful this outfit's going to be. So I want you to put this smart blazer
Okay.
on just to show you that you can elevate this outfit and make it look smart by putting a blue blazer on top. Yeah, really, really nice.
nice.
Have a look at yourself here then as well. What do you
That's
think?
very nice, yeah,
Yeah?
I really like it, very smart.
Sam likes the second outfit too.
Let's see this next one. Wow! Oh my goodness!
Really
Give me a
nice.
twirl in this one as well. Fabulous. How do you feel?
Yeah, really good. This is not something I would dare to go for normally, but I really like it.
Okay, fantastic. So what I really like about it as well is the fact that none of the colours are actually matching, but they all work in harmony with each
Yeah.
other really nicely.
Sam then tries on outfit 3.
Oh wow, another completely different outfit
Really
as
like this
well.
one, yeah.
You like this one?
Absolutely. It's a very good idea putting trainers with smarter trousers. I wouldn't think to do that.
And finally, he tries on outfit 4.
Wow, what another entrance.
Really nice. So this is a staple. Everyone should have one of these.
Everyone should have
See,
a
I haven't.
shirt. No?
Brilliant.
But you know what?
But which outfit does Sam like best? Outfit 1, outfit 2, outfit 3, outfit 4.
I think outfit 2 really, because it was quite bold. I felt very smart in it, and I wouldn't have worn those kind of things.
So what are Ellen's golden rules?
I would say my golden rules would be to look at your own wardrobe to begin with before even going shopping, because without knowing what you've got, you can't go out and buy the right things. Okay, fantastic. So what I think a lot of the mistakes that people make are they're not staying true to themselves when they actually go out shopping. So perhaps they've seen kind of a lot of different things in magazines and online, and sometimes that can be really confusing. How do the chinos feel as well?
Very comfy, lovely.
I truly believe that it doesn't matter how much money you've got, you can look good. It's about where you shop and how you put things together.
Is there one item that Ellen thinks everyone should have?
I do think that everyone should have a good pair of jeans in their wardrobe that fits them perfectly, that makes them feel good about themselves. Did you enjoy today?
I did. It was absolutely brilliant. It exceeded my expectations. It was really great fun.
That's fine.
Although not everyone needs Ellen's help, for Sam, the day with a personal stylist has clearly changed his wardrobe and his attitude to it.
Thank you again.
No problem. Bye.
Hello, and welcome to 10-Minute Travel for all your travel tips, news and reviews. Many of us travel a lot, on holiday or for work, and that often means staying in a hotel. So today we're looking at hotel problems and what we should do when things go wrong. The hotel industry is a competitive one, and hotels really do want you to enjoy your stay, especially in this digital age where guests can leave good or bad reviews instantly. But sometimes things go wrong. Let's start by looking at the top 5 complaints. Air conditioning is top of the list, with nearly a quarter of all the complaints. At number 2 is Wi-Fi, with 14% of people complaining that the hotel Wi-Fi is too slow or that they can't connect. 11% of hotel guests have had problems with noise, either from the street outside or from neighbouring rooms. And a similar number have complained about their room not being clean enough. And finally, in 5th place, service. 9% of guests have suffered from slow or bad service, especially with hotel breakfasts or room service. So, what should you do if you have one of these problems? So, what should you do if you have one of these problems? What's the best way to complain? Let's look at 3 examples of how not to do it. Here's Phil, a hotel guest who's on a work trip.
Oh, sorry, sir. I'll come back later.
No, it's fine. Go ahead. It's so hot in here I couldn't sleep. I can't get the air conditioning to work. Can you see if you can fix it?
I'm sorry, sir. I don't really know about the air conditioning.
Well, I'm afraid I don't know about it either.
I'll tell reception later.
So, what did Phil do wrong? The first rule of complaining is to complain to the right person. The chambermaid can't fix Phil's air conditioning, and it isn't her job to get it fixed. Phil needs to go down and complain to reception. It's always better to complain in person rather than just phoning. So let's take a look at how Phil should have complained.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I think there's a problem with the air conditioning in my room 42. It's very hot and I can't get it cooler. Could you ask someone to have a look at it before this evening?
Of course, sir. I'll do it right away.
Here you are, sir. Bacon and eggs, toast, and an espresso.
I think I asked for brown toast and a cappuccino, not an espresso.
Brown toast and a cappuccino. I'm very sorry, sir. The order must have got mixed up.
Never mind. I'm in a hurry. I'll have the espresso.
And the toast? I can bring you some brown toast in a few minutes.
Okay then. Oh, it doesn't matter. White toast will be okay.
Thank you, sir.
Here, Phil complains to the right person, but there's no point complaining if you don't want somebody to do something about it. If you want to complain successfully, you need to know what your ideal solution is and make it clear. So, let's take a look at how Phil should have complained.
Bacon and eggs, toast, and an espresso.
I think I asked for brown toast and a cappuccino, not an espresso.
Brown toast and a cappuccino. I'm very sorry, sir. The kitchen must have made a mistake.
If you could change them, that would be great. And as quickly as you can, please. I don't have much time.
Of course, sir. I'll be right back.
Good morning, sir. Can I help you?
Yes, I'd like to check out, please.
Of course, sir. I hope you enjoyed your stay.
No, I didn't enjoy it at all. My room was noisy and the Wi-Fi was slow. It was impossible to get any work done. I certainly won't be recommending this hotel, you can be sure of that.
I'm very sorry to hear that, sir.
Why complain about your room and the Wi-Fi when you're checking out? You should always complain as soon as you notice a problem. If you wait till later, the hotel might not have the chance to put the problem right. Above all, and this is probably the most important tip, never be rude or aggressive. If you complain politely, you're far more likely to be successful. A smile will always make people want to help you. So, let's take a look at how Phil should have complained.
Hello again, sir. Can I help you?
Yes, I've been trying to do some work in my room and there's a lot of traffic noise from the street. Would it be possible to move to a different room? Maybe at the back of the hotel?
I'll see what we have. Yes, we do have a room free. Overlooking the garden?
That sounds perfect. I also noticed the Wi-Fi seems to be very slow. It's like being at home.
I'll get someone to look at that right away, sir. Here's your new room key. Just let me know if you're still having problems with the Wi-Fi in 10 minutes.
Thanks very much.
Finally, remember that if you're staying in a good hotel, they'll always want the chance to put things right. But they can't help you if they don't know there's a problem, so you should always complain. And now you know how.
Crime fiction is loved all over the world, from British writers like Arthur Conan Doyle and Val McDermid, to Americans like Raymond Chandler and Patricia Highsmith, to Scandinavian and European writers like Henning Mankell and George Simenon. But two British novelists are called queens of crime: Agatha Christie and Ruth Rendell. Ruth Graysman was born in London in 1930. Her father was English and her mother was Danish. After she left school, she became a journalist. She married Don Rendell, who was also a journalist. In 1964, Rendell published the first Inspector Wexford novel, From Doon with Death. Wexford, a British policeman who appeared in 24 novels and some short stories, is still Rendell's best-known character, over 50 years after his first appearance. In 1975, Ruth and Don Rendell got divorced, but they remarried in 1977. Ruth Rendell continued to write, and she also started to write under the pseudonym Barbara Vine. The Barbara Vine novels are also crime novels, but they are much darker and more psychological. Some of her novels have been made into films, not only in English, but in other languages too. The French film La Cérémonie was adapted from the novel Judgment in Stone. And Pedro Almodóvar's film Carne Tremula is also based on a Rendell novel, Live Flesh. Ruth Rendell died in 2015. Today she is considered a queen of crime, but most people would probably agree that the original queen of crime is Agatha Christie. Agatha Miller was born in Torquay in the southwest of England in 1890. Her father was American and her mother British. In 1914, she married Archie Christie, who was an army pilot. Christie started to write and published her first novel in 1920, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, in which she created a Belgian private detective, Hercule Poirot. In December 1926, Christie became the centre of her very own mystery when she suddenly disappeared from the family home in Sunningdale near London. Her disappearance was big news in the UK and in the US. For 11 days, the police and the press searched for her. The police also asked Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes, for help, but even he couldn't solve the mystery. The police eventually found Christie in Harrogate in the north of England. She apparently couldn't remember anything, and the mystery of her disappearance was never solved. Soon afterwards, she and Archie divorced. Agatha Christie continued to write. She also married again, to Max Mallowan, who was an archaeologist. This marriage was happy. She created another detective, Jane Marple. Miss Marple is a little old English lady. She lives in a small village and solves crimes quietly and often without leaving her armchair. She is totally different from Hercule Poirot, who Christie described as a complete egoist. She also wrote more personal novels under the pseudonym of Mary Westmacott. Agatha Christie died in 1976, but her books are still read all over the world and watched in films like Murder on the Orient Express, plays like The Mousetrap, and television series like the Miss Marple series. Ruth Rendell and Agatha Christie had many things in common. They were both very successful crime writers, and they both wrote different novels under pseudonyms. They both divorced and remarried, and they're also both strongly associated with the detectives they created. But their approaches were very different. Rendell was always more interested in characters, while Christie loved plots. And while Agatha Christie's readers will read to the end to find out who committed the murder, Ruth Rendell's readers will also want to find out why.
What do you eat to cheer yourself up when you're feeling sad?
I love roast potatoes, baked potatoes. They're warm, buttery, nice olive oil. They make me feel good.
Does it make you feel better?
Yeah, usually it does. I think they're quite refreshing, warm. When you're feeling down, I think they're the perfect remedy.
How often do you eat out?
Well, my wife would probably like me to eat out a little bit less, but probably about 2 to 3 times a week.
What kind of places do you go to?
You know, it always kind of depends. I think that people like to eat about 3 or 4 different restaurants in their town, no matter what. And it's usually one of those 3 or 4, usually pizza, Mexican, or Asian.
Why do you like these kinds of restaurants?
I guess part of it is it's a type of food that you can't normally prepare at home, and so it's something a little bit different. Otherwise, it's just tasty.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have step brothers and sisters, 2 stepsisters and 1 stepbrother.
Do you get on with them well?
Yes, we didn't grow up together, but we're now all adults and we get on really well.
Have you ever won any money, for example, in a lottery?
I won many years ago £1,000, which was amazing.
What did you do with it?
We went on an unplanned long weekend break in the Malverns in England, which was absolutely gorgeous.
Have you ever taken part in a charity event?
I have, yes. Run the London Marathon, I think about 8 years ago now, for cancer research.
How much money did you raise?
I think about £6,500.
How do you get to work?
I take the tube,
How long does it take?
45 minutes or so.
What do you think is the best way to get around London?
The easiest way is to take the tube, I think, but the nicest way is probably to go by a Boris bike. If you want to relax when you're travelling, then it's a nice way to see the city, but maybe not the quickest way to get around.
Do you think women are better than men with young children? Or do you think that's just a stereotype?
I think that it is definitely a stereotype that women are just better with children than men are. I believe that both sexes provide children with valuable, equally valuable experiences. So I definitely trust either sex to raise children and love children, you know, with the same styles and the same quality and, you know, respect and love.
Are there any stereotypes about men and women that you think are true?
I think women do think differently to men, and I think conversations tend to be different as well. Women are much more into what did you say and what did he say and what did you feel and all the rest of it, and men are far more pragmatic and, you know, just want to know the score, as it were.
How many languages do you speak?
I speak English and I also speak Afrikaans.
Is there a language you'd like to be able to speak?
I would very much like to be able to speak Spanish.
Why Spanish?
Because Spanish is spoken all over the world, and I feel it's important to be able to communicate with more people.
Is there anything that people do with their phones that really annoys you?
I would say from what I've experienced, they're either texting or looking at their phones while walking and not looking where they're going. I would say from what I've experienced so far in London, that would be the biggest for me.
Do you prefer doing sport or watching it?
Probably doing it. I find watching it really boring.
What sport do you do?
I don't do a lot. I'd say I don't mind tennis, swimming in variation, depends on the weather.
What sports do you most like watching?
If I had to watch one, I like the rhythmic gymnastics or the diving, like for example at the games when they're on TV.
Why do you like them?
I think because they're kind of like a dance. It's like a routine. It's very graceful. It's not as rough as sport.
Do you know anyone who has gone out with someone they met online?
I know lots of people who've gone out with people they've met online.
How did it work out?
A couple of people are married. For some of them, they're still with the other person, and for a lot of them, it didn't work out.
Have you ever cheated in an exam?
I have, yes.
How did you cheat?
I wrote the answers in a tissue and put it in my pocket and then went to the bathroom to read the answers that I'd written down.
Were you caught?
No.
What's your favourite film of all time?
That has to be the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I've read the books, I have no idea how many times. I absolutely adored the films.
How many times have you seen them?
No idea, but probably getting on for 10 times.
Why do you like them so much?
Part of that, I think, is because I never expected them to be made into films because they're just so huge in scale. And I think the CGI is amazing on them. So, and the characters, the casting is brilliant. So the whole thing really is just amazing.
Do you have a profile photo?
Yes, I have a profile photo on my Facebook and Instagram and Twitters.
What is it?
The profile photo on my Facebook page is of me and my husband in Las Vegas on our anniversary.
Why did you choose it?
My makeup looked good.
What was your favourite subject when you were at school?
History, predominantly modern history. That's the main reason my history teacher is the reason why I became a teacher. She was really inspiring and she made the subject come alive.
Were there any subjects you hated?
Maths, again due to bad teachers. And predominantly I just don't have a mathematical brain, so I found it very difficult.
What kind of things do you often buy online?
I buy online clothes, food to get delivered to home, and also a lot of beauty products as well.
Is there anything you would never buy online?
I don't think there is anymore. I don't think there is anything anymore that I wouldn't buy online.
Have you ever had really bad customer service?
Yes, I have had very bad customer service before.
What happened?
I've had a waiter be very rude to me and sort of drop the plate on the table when they serve the dish.
What did you do?
I did not tip that waiter.
If you could change one thing about your flat, what would it be?
A bit more green space. We have a garden, a little patio, which is great. But yeah, a garden with some green space would be amazing. Obviously, for now summer's coming, hopefully. That would be amazing, yeah.
What's more important to you about a job? Having a good salary or doing something you really enjoy?
When I first started work, I thought it was the salary. But later on in my working life, I decided it was actually more important to have a job that you really enjoyed. But I've come to the conclusion that they're both important. You can do a job that you really enjoy, but at the end of the day, we all need to live. So you do need the salary as well.
Have you ever helped a stranger or been helped by a stranger?
Yes, a few months ago I was catching a train home from work and I went past a little girl with her two grandparents and she was crying and she was really unhappy. And I thought, oh dear, but there's nothing I can do. So I went into the station and I went up the stairs, over the bridge, down the other side. And then on the floor, I saw a little toy panda. And immediately I knew that that was the little girl's panda, and that's why she was crying. So I ran back up the stairs, over the bridge, out of the station, and I saw the family in the car park. I could still hear the little girl crying. And I ran up and said, "Is this yours?" And the little girl took it, and the grandparents just said, "Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you." So that was nice.
Do you think we rely too much on technology?
Oh, absolutely. I think we really, especially our mobile phones, once upon a time, I've traveled a lot, so I used to rely on maps, and I would, you know, the night before when I'm traveling, I'd map out where I was going to go and have it all in my head ready to go. Now I just pull out my phone and use Google Maps.
Are there any devices you just couldn't live without?
Yes, probably my mobile phone.
Do you like detective or mystery novels or TV series?
Yeah, I have done. So I really like the Nordic noirs that were very popular a few years ago. So like The Killing and The Bridge, especially, I found really fascinating.
Do you have a favourite author or detective?
Yes, but can I remember her name? It's actually the one in The Bridge.
Do you usually guess who the murderer is?
I'll always try. Sometimes I get it, sometimes it's too difficult. Yeah.
Do you have a favourite designer?
I've recently started wedding dress shopping, and I really like the dresses by Maggie Sottero.
Why do you like her clothes?
The dresses are quite a vintage style, which is really flattering, and when I've tried them on, I think they're probably the ones I'm going to go for.
Do you think you are generally a lucky person?
Yes, I do, actually. I do think I'm lucky.
Can you think of a time when you've been really lucky?
I can think of an awful lot of times when I've been really, really lucky. I had a car accident many, many years ago, and even the police didn't know how I got out of it alive, so I think that really says it all.
Alex Rawlings became Britain's most multilingual student in 2012 when he won a national competition which tested his fluency in 11 different languages. At the time, he was studying German and Russian at Oxford University. Originally from London, Alex has lived in Germany, Russia, Hungary and Spain, and he has gone on to learn more languages since he graduated.
Goedemorgen. Bonjour. Shalom. Buongiorno. Goedemorgen. Yassas. Hola. Привет. Guten Tag. Hi. Bon dia. I've learnt so many languages because I'm hooked, basically, on learning languages. I think every new language to me is like a new world. It's a completely new adventure, and you meet totally different people, you have totally different experiences. I often say when you visit a country, when you speak the language, you really get to know that country, you really get to explore it for yourself. But when you visit a country and you don't speak the local language, you're relying on other people to explain what's happening to you. They're showing you their version of the country, but you can't really see it for yourself. All of the languages that I speak are fun. I think that's why I've stuck with them and enjoyed speaking them. I think I have the deepest emotional connection with Greek because my grandmother was from Greece, and so we use Greek in my family as well, and I've heard it ever since I was a child. But I also really like speaking German. There are so many languages that I would love to learn in the future. As I said, I'm hooked, so I'm very interested in Chinese at the moment. I work with someone from China who's teaching me little bits, and I think it's really cool when I hear her speaking to her family or friends on the phone in Chinese and think, wow, wouldn't it be really awesome to speak that? I organise an international conference for polyglots every year, which moves countries. So last year it was in Iceland, and this year it's going to be in Slovenia. So I'd like to learn some Slovene as well before we go there for the weekend. I always feel a little bit guilty that I'm from the UK, but I've never really learnt any of our local languages here. So I've never learnt Welsh, I've never learnt Irish, I've never learnt Scottish Gaelic. And I went to Wales recently and loved that we had everything in 2 languages. You walk into the supermarket and you see all these languages everywhere. And I thought, I think it would be really cool to learn a language which is very close to where I live and that I could use. So I'd love to learn Welsh one day too. The biggest challenge for me for learning a new language was with Russian. There were a number of things that I wasn't expecting to be hard that were. For example, there's a whole new alphabet, which it's not too different to English, you get used to it, but when you're trying to learn a word, it's just an extra barrier to memorizing that word. First having to read it and understand what all of the letters mean, and then having to actually memorize it. So there's that extra layer there. Technology has been an amazing resource for me, especially when I was growing up actually with YouTube and things like that. I was able to sort of come home from school and immediately immerse myself in this world of another language. I could just watch videos in different languages all evening, and it was like I was there. It was like I was living in the country. So the internet has brought all of those cultures much closer to me and made them much more accessible. And since then, I think there's now a lot of technology out there to help you learn vocabulary or to teach you grammar.
As well as learning languages himself, Alex has also taught intensive language courses. He also appears in the media and regularly attends events organised by institutions such as the European Council and the British Council to promote language learning and multilingualism. He has also written a book, How to Speak Any Language Fluently.
Yeah, it's a good question. So put it this way, I've never met anyone who couldn't learn a language. You know, I mean, if they had the right motivation, the right time allocation, the right resources, and the right expectations, I've never met anyone who's had all of those things in place and still failed. But many of us fail to learn languages because one of those things is not there. We don't have enough time, we're not doing it for the right reasons, or we expect it to be a lot easier than it actually is. Well, the easiest language for me to learn was definitely Afrikaans because the grammar is very, very simple. So there are almost no irregular verbs. There's only 3 real tenses you have to worry about. And a lot of the vocabulary in Afrikaans is very similar to vocabulary in English. So for example, there's this sentence which is my pen is in my hand and my hand is in warm water, which in Afrikaans is my pen is in my hand and my hand is in warm water, which, you know, is very, very easy for English speakers to learn. So the easiest languages to learn are the languages that are most similar to the one you speak natively, because you don't have to learn so many new concepts, and maybe you can already understand a lot of the vocabulary because it's similar to what you already know. I think British and American people think that they're not very good at languages. I think we don't have much confidence because when we go abroad to other countries, we expect people to speak English, people expect us to speak English, so we never get a chance to practice the little bits of other languages that we might know. I think the most important thing for someone who wants to learn a new language to remember is that nothing happens overnight. Learning languages is a lifelong activity, and you never finish. You never get to that finishing line where you think, right, what should I do next? When you learn a new language, you need to accept the fact that there will always be more to learn, no matter how much you learn. And so the best approach is to just start doing it in little steps, just doing, say, 10 to 15 minutes a day, whenever you can find time around your routine, and then building that up over a year or 2 years before you really start to feel very confident using that language.